If I could get your attention. Thank you. I am honored to introduce to this club Captain Leiza Fitzgerald, who I recently met, and one of the most impressive fisher anglers I've ever met. I'm going to tell you a little bit about her background, and this is a small piece of the things of her accomplishments. But she grew up in Key West, Florida, and in the woods of Moss Bluff, Florida, which is near Ocala. And her passion for fishing, hunting, and conservation, she learned from her parents, and she was just sharing with me some of her experiences of growing up hunting and fishing. So she combined these passions with work in the outdoor industry for nearly 30 years. She's a retired charter fishing captain, a prize-winning competitive redfish, kingfish, and tarpon tournament angler. She's a TV, radio, and podcast show co-host. She's a Top Gun fishing instructor, and I want to hear more about what that means. So she's a fishing coach, as well as she authors national and local magazine and newspaper fishing articles, similar to Terry Lacoste and other folks that we know. She still fishes in the International Women's Fishing Tournament. She has experience fishing our waters off Amelia Island, and so she's full of unique knowledge. She was named by Salt Strong as one of the top 12 lady anglers. In Florida and Wildlife Enthusiast magazine named her one of North America's 30 most influential women in fishing, top 5 in saltwater. Oh, it gets better. She's in 2022. She was inducted into the Florida Sports Hall of Fame as the first angler in their history. And the Florida Sports Hall of Fame has been around, I think, 60 years or something like that. So, big deal. She's a big deal.
I prefer to be called the real, R-E-E-L, real deal.
Real deal. She's here, and I met her through signing up for Coastal Conservation Association of Florida. And she's the director of that and runs the STAR competition, which she's going to tell us all about. And I was hoping that $500,000 prizes piqued everyone's interest if you saw the little in the flyer. She's going to tell us how to get her a piece of that. And she is affectionately known as the Queen of Conservation. She travels the country promoting conservation in our marine resources, releasing redfish, educating the general public on how to catch fish, and how to be a good steward of Florida in our marine waters. Just this week, she is going to be in 4 cities, including this one here tonight. So this is what she does. She travels around, and she is the Queen of Conservation, for sure. So I could go on and on and on, but that's enough. You get the gist. So please welcome Captain Leiza Fitzgerald.
By the introduction. I don't always get that lavish an introduction, but thank you. And he is correct. Oh, let me have that one.
Yeah.
We tried that.
I know that's the thing. This one is so good.
But I talk with my hands, so you're going to have to apologize. I'm going to use something. We use these in many ways. This one's another way I get to use them. I travel all over the state of Florida, helping people to understand how desperately we need each and every one of you to help us preserve and conserve our marine resources, but also to have fun while we're doing it. So it's really a great opportunity I hate to do this to you, Brad, but I can't sit. I have to stand up.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
just don't fall.
I rode up here in my truck, and so sitting is not always as comfortable once you get out of the truck. So I do want you to know that I have spent a lot of time, and just so that you know, you in this area is like my top two favorite places in all of the state of Florida to come and go fishing. Your fisheries here for redfish and tarpon are some of the best in the state of Florida. And if you don't know that, you should explore a little bit more. I will tell you, it's extremely challenging. The very first time, I think it was 15 years ago, maybe no, it was longer than that. It was about 20 years ago when I first came up here to fish. I did not realize that you had 6-foot tidal changes. And I found this beautiful bay, and in my big bay boat, I go screaming back to the shoreline. And I get back there, and I'm watching fish, and I'm fishing, and I'm casting, and I'm absorbed in what's going on. And I sit there for a minute, catching some really nice redfish, and all of a sudden my boat kind of tilted. I'm like, what is going on? And I look, and I'm going, where's the water? And I look back, and this big bay that I had just screamed through has all these big oyster mounds now sticking up everywhere. And profanity was something I used at that point. I rocked my boat off of these oysters and got into this little trough. And a trolling motor on high, a 24-foot Ranger Bay, screaming out. And I'm following the current out. But what that taught me was where I could find those fish. So at the end of my presentation, I am going to talk a little bit about how we find those redfish, and then also how we find some tarpon later in the conversation. I do want to start out with a little video. It might be a little loud. I'm not sure how loud it's going to be on these speakers, but this is just a little bit to get you educated on the organization that I work for.
It's not tied into the speakers. You might have to use your mic. You have to put the mic to it. You got it.
We are Coastal Conservation Association, Florida. CCA Florida has been working for you since 1985. CCA was founded as a grassroots recreational fisheries management and advocacy organization. And its purpose is to advise and educate the public on the conservation of marine resources. And in doing so, we have found the need to significantly increase our habitat restoration projects at a much faster pace around the state. Many of these projects were partially or wholly funded by donations from our dedicated sponsors, support from local CCA chapters and members, proceeds from boat raffle sales, through foundation grants acquired by CCA Florida from our National Habitat Program, the Building Conservation Trust, or BCT, and funds raised from the Conserve Florida's Fisheries license plate. Since 2010, and in collaboration with BCT, CCA Florida and its partners have contributed over $10 million in habitat projects statewide. With help from its nearly 20,000 members, CCA Florida has completed more than 80 habitat projects across the state, including 46 artificial reef deployments, stabilizing 4.5 miles of shoreline, recycling more than 80 tons of oyster shell, and deploying 36 oyster reefs, cleaning up 86 tons of trash, restocking 110,000 spotted sea trout and nearly 300,000 redfish, deploying more than 25 million clams, and planting more than 50,000 salt marsh grasses and mangroves. We remain focused on ensuring that all donated and leveraged habitat funds are spent wisely on projects benefiting Florida's marine habitat, water quality, and the recreational angler. While the advocacy and habitat work will continue indefinitely, let's all remember that at CCA Florida, it's more than fishing, and we are always working for you.
So that's just a little bit about what we do as an organization, and here are all of our supporters. I do have a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to go through it really quickly because that's kind of the boring part of what I do. The fun part is talking about fishing. So I do want to share with you basically a lot of the things that we do within our organization. Let's come on. I think I got it. So I'm not very tech savvy. I'm great with a rod and reel, a bow, or a gun, but when it comes to technology, that is not my forte. Here we go. Come on. All right, there we are. So just a little bit about the organization. As I said, we are one of 19 state chapters. So almost every state that is on the either the ocean or on the Gulf has a state chapter of CCA. The only states that do not actually touch saltwater is our Nashville, Tennessee chapter, but that Nashville, Tennessee chapter actually benefits CCA Florida. So all of the proceeds and all of the funds raised from the Nashville chapter come to our Florida chapter, and that is because most of the people in Nashville, where do they go to go fishing? The fishing capital of the world, Florida, so they come here. So we do get an opportunity to spend time with all of our Nashville chapter individuals. Not only do we have 19 state chapters, but we have 40 chapters in the state of Florida. Almost every coastal county in the state of Florida has a chapter, as well as Orlando and many of the interior counties have a chapter of CCA. Some of the things that we do, initiating scientific research projects. The projects, much like things that are happening in Flagler, things that are happening here in Nassau County, many things that are happening in Duval County, checking waters to make sure that the way that different companies who are sitting on the intercoastal waterway, that are sitting on the St. Johns River, what they're doing and how they're affecting our waters are important and critical. So those are some of the things that we do. We do funding of marine science scholarships, which I understand, congratulations goes out to your club, because you did $18,000 in college scholarships for youth. So I'm very proud to hear that. There's very few clubs that do that kind of work, so kudos to this club for that. We support local marine law enforcement. We're one of the few organizations that actually provide funding to our local marine law enforcement. I'm very proud of that. My brother was a Marine, he was a wildlife officer for 33 years. So it's one of the things that we can see. We need more of them. We need more of our youth going into that field. So it's important that we do that. We do restocking projects. Your area up here, Nassau, Duval, and Flagler all have received close to 50,000 juvenile redfish that have been released in your local waters. So it's really a great opportunity for us to restock for you. On the east coast of Florida, we've done over 100,000 redfish. We have another 100,000 redfish that'll be coming back into the coastal waters, starting in your county here and moving south. And we will be doing a release on May the 5th in Biscayne Bay with about 50,000 redfish down there. So we're doing restocking efforts both on the east and west coast of Florida. Those are the stock enhancement. Most of our fish and most of the state fisheries that have released redfish are releasing redfish that are about this size. And most of us know a fish this size, what do we call that? Bait. We're releasing fish, yeah, a keeper. We're releasing fish anywhere from 8 to 12 inches, and then we're also releasing fish that are over 24 inches into the coastal waters. So it's really making a difference in the way that we do our restocking efforts. Come on. Another enhancement program that I myself personally work with and get volunteers to help with is I find tournaments that actually are still kill tournaments, where they're bringing in inshore fish like redfish, snook, and trout, When you enter a tournament and you bring a fish in a redfish tournament, it's a top of the slot fish, and that is usually a female. She's at 26 to 27 inches. When you bring her in dead, you're not just killing one fish, you're killing millions of fish. So what I've done is I have tanks, and I don't know if you can see it, but these big tanks are oxygenated. And I come to tournaments and I tell them, I will be your weighmaster. You don't have to pay me anything, and I will provide incentives to your anglers to bring their fish in alive. The incentive is a 6-pack of beer. I get the local distributors to provide me beer. The tournaments have more live redfish coming into. They said, I've never seen so many redfish come in, but they're coming in alive. I keep them alive in the oxygenated tanks until the tournament is over, and then I put them back into the salt water. We've done over 1,400 redfish on your East Coast here, and over 1,000 on the West Coast. I have a tournament coming up this weekend, this Saturday in Crystal River, where I'll release another 60 redfish, and they will come in alive. I also give everyone a little raffle ticket, and they can win a rod reel combo that's valued at almost $500 from Bull Bay Rods and Florida Fishing Products. But it's a great way to incentivize actually doing something good for the environment and not killing the fish. We're not opposed to people eating fish. We're not opposed to that, but we want you to do everything in moderation. Don't keep your limit your catch. We do coastal cleanups, youth fishing clinics. We have almost 11 or 12 different clinics that we do all over the state of Florida. I initiate fishing clubs in a lot of the different communities. And one of the big projects that I'm working on right now is with the Guy Harvey Foundation. We have 350 marine science educators in the state of Florida. We are creating a curriculum for them which will allow them to teach conservation to their youth and give them the opportunity every class to go out and either plant seagrasses, mangroves, or have an opportunity to do oyster renourishment. So it's a great opportunity for the kids to learn about conservation. Uh-oh, what did I do? See what I said? The habitat restoration, you saw a lot of that on your on the video that I showed. We have over 90 projects that we've completed throughout the state of Florida. One of the ones that you might be aware of is the Ripper Reef. If you're not familiar with that, one of the golfers, Cam Smith, donated a significant amount of money to be able to have a reef put up here. We also have several other reefs that we're working on getting permitted out of Nassau County, Duval County, and Flagler County. Our organization is also working on putting the largest reef system in a ship. It's, I believe, over 200 feet. This ship is going to be sunk over on the west coast of Florida in the Panhandle, and that will be the largest ship that's ever been sunk in the history of the United States, and that will be one that we will be able to put into the waterways. These are just some of the up-and-coming projects that we have going on. As the video also said, we've deployed 46 artificial reefs. Artificial reefs are imperative to great fisheries because they hold, again, we talked about bait, they hold the bait. That's where juvenile fish are reared. On this coast, most of your artificial reefs actually have big snook. If you're not out on your artificial reefs out here, snook have moved up and we're finding them as far north as Nassau County, and they're catching them out on the reefs, not near shore, but out on the reefs in 40 and 50, 60 feet of water and even further out on some of those near shore reefs. With the 90 habitat restoration projects that we've done, one of the biggest ones that we love is the oyster recycling projects. How many of you like to have oysters when you go out to a beer bar? Your restaurants and bars here are doing a recycling program where when we have the spent shells, the shuck shells, they are saving them for us, and we have volunteers from our community and from our chapters who go and pick up all those shuck shells. We transport them to the center part of the state. They sit for 6 months and are cured in the sun. Once they're cured, then we have the opportunity. We have almost 80 tons of cured shell, and that goes right back into the waterways. Live oysters put out larvae. That larvae floats around, and you'll see it on seawalls, you'll see baby oysters on seawalls, you'll see them on mangrove shoots, you'll see them on hard substrate. It'll take them 3 weeks to attach to hard substrate. It takes them 3 days to reattach to an oyster shell. They know it as their parent, and so in 3 days, if there's viable oyster spat in the water, it will attach to an oyster shell. So as soon as we put that shell in the water, we're starting living oyster reefs and living shorelines. So that is the reason that we get this shell and save it. Here are the habitat projects, and we went through it in the video, but we have some great accolades here. One of the ones that breaks my heart the most is the amount of garbage and trash that we're collecting from the waterways. I know that everyone that goes out on a boat, I hope you're careful when you're running your boat, because it's very easy for your trash to blow out. But one of the biggest issues that we have are microplastics in our waterways. Water bottles break down, plastic bags break down. So if you're out on the water over the summer, collect a 5-gallon bucket full of trash, and through our STAR program, which I'll talk about in a minute, you can get rewarded for that. So this is just a little bit about CCA. As the video also told you, in the last 10 to 15 years, we've rallied almost over $10 million in habitat restoration projects for the state of Florida. That is the entire state of Florida. We don't just work on one area. So if you have something that you see here that needs our attention, have someone reach out to me, and we work on those. We also provide grants. CCA has a $1 million grant pledge. Your club can go to our local CCA chapter and say, hey, here's an issue. We need you to restore an oyster bed here. We need you to plant some seagrasses. We need you to look at the mosquito catch impoundments and how they're dredging these. If you have projects that you want us to get involved with, reach out to our local chapter, and we have a $50,000 grant that we can pledge to your organization to help you with that. So it does have to be a habitat restoration project, however. So here's where I come into play. And fellas, I'm just gonna tell you, and ladies, there's a lot of opportunities to win some amazing prizes, but I'm gonna warn you, I understand that there is one person here that you guys are all gonna have to watch out for, and that's Trisha Glenn. She is going to win everything. So you better start working on it right now, because she is going to whip your fannies at catching fish. And with that, the tournament runs from Memorial Day to Labor Day. So that's September the 24th. I'm sorry, that's May the 24th through September the 1st. Over 100 days of fishing. Every single fish you catch can be entered in the competition to win something, winning a share of $500,000. I'm gonna go over here. I have a tagged redfish over here. I come up to your county and I catch redfish up here and I tag them. This year, the tag is going to be green. Last year, it was red. Last year, we had someone here in your county recapture one of these tagged redfish. Do you know what he could have won? A contender, valued at over $100,000 with a 250 Yamaha on it, a deck cat, a Carolina skiff, a spider, a Can-Am Sea-Doo package, or one of the other amazing boats that we have. But guess what? He wasn't registered in the competition, and he wasn't a CCA member, so he lost out. That was a very expensive fish that he took home for dinner. But I will tell you that you do have in your county alone, in your waters, you have 3 of those tagged redfish that will be tagged and released before the start of the competition. Duval County has 4. Flagler County has 4. And then if you go on down the coast, every coastal county has 4. The tournament is statewide, so there are 4 redfish per coastal county, except for Citrus County and Charlotte County, because their Economic Development Council said, hey, people are coming here to catch fish and they're spending money, they're doing all the kinds of cool things, they're staying the weekends, we want more redfish tag. So I fixed a program for them where they could buy more redfish and have them. So if anybody knows your Nassau County TDC and you guys want more redfish and have pull with them, tell them they can buy more redfish for your county. We have $500,000 in prizes. We have inshore and offshore divisions. We have a youth division. And the cool thing about our youth division is you don't have to be the smartest kid. You don't have to be the most athletic kid. You just have to be between the ages of 6 and 17, catching fish. A pinfish counts for a youth. A ladyfish counts, jack. Any fish that they catch, they can take a picture and submit it. And every year we award $100,000 in college scholarships. We've been in competition 10 years. That's $1 million in college scholarships that I've awarded to kids just for catching fish. They get off their Xboxes, they pick up their tackle boxes, and they go out and they catch fish. This year, we have awarded 2 $25,000 scholarships and 10 $5,000 scholarships, and that's presented by Real Tree Fishing. I don't know what I keep doing. Maybe I need Vanna to help me with my... So here is... There we go. You could just... When I look back at you or give you my hand signal, you can tap it and make sure it moves. Yes. So as I mentioned earlier, it is May through September, 100 days of fishing. We do offer some of the most amazing prizes in the inshore division. The inshore division is any inshore species. You can put, there's I think 11 different species for inshore, trout, spotted trout, redfish, tarpon, any of the inshore species. The first place prize is a brand new boat. All we do is a random drawing. We pay out 12 places. There's $60,000 in our inshore division. Our offshore division is also 12 different species, and we give away a brand new Yamaha 250 for first place, a 150 for second place, and there is also $60,000 in that division, those divisions as well. Yep. The tagged redfish division, as I said, there's 4 per coastal county. Because your county's a little bit smaller, you have 3 here. We do it on average, and then we are giving away 5 different boats this year, plus a Can-Am Sea-Doo package. One thing you do need, and you can pick this up at most of your bait and tackle shops, your West Marines, your academies, it's called an identifier. It's Tyvek. You pick it up, it just has to be, it's an identifier to know that that picture was taken during the time that the tournament is running, so we don't have too many. I could tell you story after story after story of people who try to submit photos that are not, their fish not caught during the time. So you do need the star identifier, and you can see that in the picture. It's a Tyvek unit, just like that. One of the newest divisions, and you guys have a lot of them up here because I've caught them here, are redfish with lots of spots. So if you catch a redfish with lots of spots, it cannot be over 27 inches. And the reason that it cannot be over 27 inches is the big bull redfish. There are some schools of bull redfish that hang out at the mouths of several of your areas here, and we don't want someone targeting the big bull redfish. But if it's under 27 inches, the fish with the most spots will win a brand new boat. And we will pay out 6 places in that, and there's a total of $15,000 in that division. 14,000 plus. All right, the next one. We have a tag for you offshore anglers. We have a tagged dolphin. If you catch one of our tagged dolphin, again, it's a green tag. You take a picture of it. I'm sure we're going to keep a dolphin if it's legal. You take a picture of it, you submit it through the app, and it's $10,000 cash or a $10,000 scholarship if a youth catches it. This is the Real Tree Fishing Youth Scholarship Division. Again, we have $100,000 that we award annually, And a gentleman from St. Augustine, a young man from St. Augustine, just won the $25,000 scholarship. He submitted 3 fish, and it is a random drawing, and he won one of them, one of the scholarships. Here's just some pictures of all the kids and us awarding the scholarships. This is the young man from St. Augustine right here who won that scholarship from Realtree. This year, another young lady won a scholarship. And one of the things that is really awesome is we have a lot of clubs that actually do finance some of the scholarships. And what we do is that club, for instance, the Florida Sport Fishing Association from Brevard County, they only award that $5,000 scholarship to youth from Brevard County, so that they get to pick, and not so much pick who they give it to, because it is a random drawing, but we pick out all of the youth from Brevard County, and then we do a random drawing for their scholarship. So it is very targeted in that respect. We have a power pole conservation division. How many people catch catfish? And then you get really upset about catching a catfish. Well, now don't be upset about it. Take a picture, submit it, and you can win a trip to the Florida Keys. You can win power poles. You can win all kinds of great prizes. So even your catfish, your jack, your ladyfish, they all win you prizes. And our trash division. This is the Coast to Kick Plastic Trash Division. Every 5-gallon bucket that you submit enters you in the competition to win some great prizes. You can go to the Florida Keys, you can get Costa sunglasses, power poles, all kinds of great projects. And then if you have youth, grandkids, neighbors, kids, they can get 30 minutes of community service hours for every 5-gallon bucket that they submit. So that's a little bit about STAR. It is only $40. I don't know of any other competition that you can fish in that's only $40, and it's 100 days of fishing and has $500,000 in prizes to award. You must be a CCA member. The CCA membership is $40. I have some brochures over there that has a barcode on it, a QR code. You just scan it, register yourself. There are hats over there, so those are free. First come, first serve. There's some keychains and some koozies. I see you having adult beverages. I like that woman right there. She's smart. There are koozies over there, so you can use your koozies to put on your adult beverages. And I know, Brad, you had some questions for me, so go ahead.
I do.
And now I'm going to sit down.
How's this sound? Oh, right. You just have to swallow it. That's how it works. We have a kingfish tournament coming up.
Yes.
Is there somehow that the STAR can relate to our kingfish tournament?
Well, yes, because a kingfish is an offshore species. So the fish that you catch in your kingfish tournament, you can turn right around and submit a photo of it with the identifier in the STAR competition, because it's May 31st or May 30th? May 30th is your kingfish tournament. STAR is already underway. You take a picture of it and you submit it. You can submit every day up to 3 offshore species. You cannot submit 3 kingfish, but if you're out there and you wind up catching a dolphin, you can enter that. If you wind up catching a sailfish or some other offshore species, you can enter up to 3 species a day. So you have 3 entries a day.
Okay. You see this phenomenal crowd of people all wondering, how can I help the CCA? So how can this club help? What your mission is?
Well, first and foremost, the way everyone can help is joining us as a member. We advocate for recreational anglers. I am sure that everyone has a little agita right now regarding Amendment 59, where NOAA is proposing that we close 55 species of 52 species.
I went to the meeting last night.
Yes, 52 species offshore, totally closed
From West Virginia.
Yes. So what we are trying to do, we have a lawsuit that we're getting ready to file against them to stop them from the closure. The information that they're using is data from over 11 years ago. It's outdated. It is not correct. and we don't feel that it is a legitimate proposal to close all of these species. So we are working very hard with the American Sportfish Association and many other organizations to fight them on this so that we cannot have this happen. Your membership helps us. The bigger we are, the bigger gorilla we become, the more effect that we have on our legislators, on many of the decisions that are made. So I would tell you that's the first thing you can do. Second thing you can do is engage yourself, find our local chapter, get involved with our local chapter, get your boots dirty, get your hands dirty. When you're out on the boat and you see a piece of garbage, pick it up. And again, I always say, limit your catch, don't keep your limit. So the reason that I suggest that is if you catch one fish and you have it for dinner tonight, and you want fish tomorrow night or a week later, guess what you have to do? You have to go fishing again. So it's really your benefit to be able to only keep one fish, enough to feed what you're going to eat that night, and then go fishing again to catch another fish. I would tell you, also engage in, I see you're doing your youth scholarships, but we'd love to have you involved with us in our youth scholarships and being able to promote your club through that. So there's a lot of great ways you can get involved.